So, welcome to the training, and let's start with the brief history of Selenium, right? How it evolved a period of time, where it is, and where is it going, right? Now, I worked on this tool for the first time, probably in 2007 or something, right? At that time, there were three components of this tool. Okay, there were three components of this tool at that time. One of the components was called as Selenium RC, the other one IDE, and the other one GRID. Fine. Now I hope everybody has almost heard about them. Fine. IDE is something which is basically a record run tool. IDE is a record run tool. Fine. And it only works on Mozilla. Okay, it generates no reports, nothing, right? It's a simple tool which can run your test cases. Okay, now it's basically a record and run tool. Many of you might have worked on it. It is not a very powerful tool. Yeah, Kiran, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so IDE is not a very powerful tool. Record and run is not successful in today's time. If you know what record and run is, and most of you might be knowing, it's available in QTP as well and other tools. Look, today the websites are dynamic. For example, a website like bbc.com, the news-based website where it's a news channel. Every day the contents of the complete website they change. Okay, if you record today, can you run tomorrow? Tomorrow the complete website is going to change, right? So there are problems in record run. It looks very fancy, but it's not like it's not so effective. All right, fine. So sorry for the interruption in between. As I was saying that IDE is primarily a record and run tool, right? It is not used so widely. Okay, and you should also refrain from using it. Moreover, it only works on Mozilla and generates no reports. Okay, the Selenium RC was another tool, right? It's also known as Selenium 1.0. It's deprecated now. Technically, deprecated means it's no longer used, no longer enhanced. Right. Now, this tool was helpful as it could work on multiple browsers. But it required you to learn any one of the languages. It was available in multiple languages like Java, Python, Ruby, Perl, PHP, C Sharp. Fine. So you had to implement it any one of the languages. It doesn't depend that sometimes people think that fine, if my website is made in Java, then I have to use Selenium RC with Java, or if my website is made in .NET, then I have to use Selenium with C Sharp. No, it's not like that. It doesn't depend in which language your website is made. You can use Selenium in any language. It's independent. Okay. Now RC was something which could also generate reports. Okay, but RC had multiple drawbacks. Right. I cannot just explain the drawbacks right now because you might not be aware of these tools. That's why. Right. So what happened was these developers, they came up from ThoughtWorks and Google, and they came together and made a new tool known as WebDriver, which is also known as Selenium 2.0. This is known as WebDriver. Okay, like RC also, it worked on multiple browsers, multiple languages, it generated reports, but there were drawbacks in RC which were removed in WebDriver. We will talk about the drawbacks as we proceed with the course. Fine. Now it doesn't require you to learn RC first and then WebDriver. You can start directly. Okay, both are like different versions, but both are different, completely different from each other. people who have worked on WebDriver, if I show them the RC code, they will not at all able to understand it. Okay, and people who have worked on RC, if I show them WebDriver code, they will also not able to understand it. Right? Fine. IDE is still there. IDE is still there. And grid. What is grid? Most of you might be knowing. Grid is something which helps you to execute your test cases parallel. Fine. In grid, you make a central machine and you connect multiple machines to the central machine. These are known as nodes, and you run your test cases parallelly on nodes. Okay. This helps you to reduce the execution. For example, if you have got 9,000 test cases, right, which have to be tested on all the 3 browsers, so you can execute 9,000 on first node on Mozilla, 9,000 on second node on Chrome, and on the third node you can execute them on IE. Fine. This is what grid is. Now grid evolved into grid 2. Grid 2 supports both WebDriver as well as RC. Okay. So and grid 1 was actually supporting RC. Right. But to learn all these things, you first need to learn Java language. In this class, we will be studying Selenium with Java. Okay. So any questions from your side? I hope my voice is clear now. I hope my voice is clear now. Right. If it's not clear, you can let me know. Fine. So all right. Right. So now the first thing is that you need to install Java on your machine, and I hope everybody has installed Java. Okay. If you have a 64-bit operating system, please note, if you have a 64-bit operating system, then I would seriously advise you to install a JDK as well. Right over here, JDK download. You go to the first link which is available. Fine, and click on this link, Java SC download over here, right, and you click on accept license and download for 64-bit or 32-bit, right. Basically, if you have a 64-bit machine, you need it badly, right. So now, yeah, if you have Eclipse installed, that's great. If Eclipse is working. Now the second thing is that you need to download and configure Eclipse. You just go to Google and type download Eclipse. What is Eclipse? Eclipse is an editor for Java language. It helps you to write Java code, right? So you go to Eclipse download link over here. Fine, you go to Eclipse download, and over here you will have, preferably this one is what I prefer, Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers, the 250 MB one. Fine, it's available for Windows 64-bit and Windows 32-bit, right? If you have a 64-bit Windows Eclipse, download. Sorry, if you have 64-bit Windows, download this one. Now, very rarely, rarest of the rarest cases, in some 64-bit machines, Eclipse gives error while starting up. Fine. So there can be one solution for this, that is, you have not installed JDK. Fine, which I asked you to install in the previous step. So you install that. If still it is giving the error, on a 64-bit machine, you can also work with 32-bit machine Eclipse. That's perfectly fine. You can download 32-bit as well. Okay, fine. So this is the thing. If error shows up on 64-bit machine, then try to install JDK, and if still error if still error is coming up, then install the 32-bit one. Right. On my machine, I have downloaded it over here. It doesn't require an installation, you just need to download it. Eclipse is over here. When you open your folder, Eclipse folder, after downloading, you will find eclipse.exe file in it. You can start off this exe and Eclipse will launch. Eclipse is not installed. Eclipse comes as a bundle. Fine. And I will give the batch name as May 2004 weekday. So this is the workspace. Workspace means the place where you will be storing all your Java code. In this class, you will be storing the complete Java code on this location. Fine. I'll start off with it. Look, if you know Java, right, then you have to be patient because I'll be starting off from basics of Java and Selenium and I'll be moving forward. Okay. Right. So this is Eclipse and it's started. Right. You can close the welcome screen from here. Right. Now primarily Eclipse has got three sections. Primarily it's got three sections. One is over here. This is the section. Over here you will be writing your code. On the left hand panel, this section is known as Project Explorer. This section you will be storing your projects, and at the bottom you get the output. Okay, you get the output, that is whatever are the print statements or whatever is output you get. Fine. Okay. Now you can create a Java project in Eclipse and start off with it. To create a Java project, okay, you right click over here in the white space under Project Explorer. You'll get a new option and select new other under general, or hold on, under Java, sorry. Under Java, you will have the option Java project. Okay, click on next and give the project name. I'll call it day 1. Hold on. Fine. So if you look on the left hand side, right, you will see the day 1 project over here. Right. If you expand this, you will see the source folder. Okay. In the source folder, you will write all the Java code. Okay. And JRE system library, this is nothing but Java which was installed on your PC. Fine. If you right click on your project, just hold on, it's taking a time. Yeah. If you click on the project, you will have many options. We will see these options as we proceed with the course. The most important option is the properties option. In the end, the shortcut is Alt Enter. Right? Go to properties option and under resource, you will see the path of the project. Look, this was the workspace which I had created in the beginning when Eclipse was launched. Under the workspace, the project is day 1. If I open this path, I'll be able to see the physical day 1 project which is visible inside Eclipse. Fine. If I open it up, it's got many folders and many files, out of which only source folder is visible inside Eclipse. Okay, only source folder is visible inside Eclipse. Rest of the folders are not visible. I'll tell you what the rest of the folders do. Source folder is the most important folder. In this folder, we keep keeping all the Java code. Whatever Java coding we are doing, we keep it in source folder. Fine. For example, I'll create a new class. Class means a simple Java program. Fine. So I'll create a new class and I'll call it sample and check this checkbox, public static void. Make sure that you have checked this checkbox. I am recording this class. You can refer the recorded sessions as well. Fine. So I am not sure. Okay guys, I'll not take a longer class today. Probably I need to check out my internet. Fine, I'll just take it for some time and I'll just end it up. Fine. Tomorrow let's see what I can do. I can probably try to take it from a different machine. Fine. So let me increase the font size. I hope you are able to see it clearly. Fine. Right. Now over here, this is the class sample. Right. This is the class sample, and the name of the class should be same as the name of the Java file. Please note, in Java the name of the class should be same as the name of the Java file. This is very important. Okay. Now this is the main function. Right. The control comes inside the main function when you run your program for the first time. Like for example, in C language also there is a main function, right? So similarly in Java as well there is a main function. In this, if you have to print something, the command is system.out.println. System.out.println is the command in Java to print something. So you can write over here system.out.println hello Selenium. So when you run this, to run this, there is an icon on the top. This is the run button. This is the run button. Fine. When you run this as a Java application, it will print hello Selenium at bottom. Look, I am assuming basic things. I am assuming that at least you know basics of programming. That is what a string is. I am assuming you know what integer is. Int I equals to, I can store numbers in integers. I am assuming that you know what a for loop is, what a while loop is. If you are not knowing these things, and if you are very new to programming, okay, I would suggest that don't go for the training directly. Don't go for the online training in that case directly. Get the videos on Selenium. Right, you must be knowing that I also have videos on Selenium. They also contain Java videos. You can watch the videos first, get some background, and later on join the training by just paying the difference amount. Okay, because this thing is important. Basic knowledge of programming is important before coming to the training. Okay. Now, moreover, I have seen many people saying that I don't find any documentation for Selenium. Right. I tried to learn Selenium, but there was not enough documentation on it, or not enough examples on it. I could not learn it. Look, everything, all the documentation for Selenium is present on the internet. If you visit the official website of Selenium, seleniumhq.org, this is the official website of Selenium. I hope you are able to hear me clearly. If you are not able to hear me, just let me know. Like over here, Padmavati was saying that she's not able to hear me. Fine. So over here, you have this website seleniumhq.org. The first line on this website is Selenium automates browser. So please note, Selenium can only automate web-based applications. If you have a desktop-based application to automate, Selenium will not do that. Okay. And if you go to the download link, under the download link for Java, you will have a link known as Java doc. This is the official documentation of Selenium. But as a layman, if you don't know Java, if you don't know the concept of object-oriented programming, you will not be able to understand what this documentation says. You need to know the object oriented programming concepts. This is the mistake which most of the people do. They don't read the object oriented programming concepts and they directly try to actually learn the tool, and later on it creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of problems. Fine. So I would suggest you have patience, learn Java, and later on if you learn tool, it helps a lot. Right? Any questions from anybody? Any questions? Look, I'm going slow today. Is just the first day, right? So we will catch up pace as well. From tomorrow onwards, I'll be starting off with object-oriented programming. Fine. So now let us go back to Eclipse. Right. So this was the program sample.java which I had created, and under day one you had the source folder. If you open source folder, you will see the physical location of this file sample.java. Okay. If you go to your bin directory, okay, go to bin directory, you will see the file sample.class. Every Java file is converted to a class file. Every Java file. If I make another Java file, for example, I write name as print name.java, and inside it I just write system.out.println my name Ashish. Right. The shortcut to type system.println is to type syso and then hit Control spacebar of the keyboard. Okay. So then automatically system.out.println will be there. So when you run this, it prints Ashish. Now along you will see that in your bin folder print name.class would also be generated. So every Java file is converted to a class file after compilation. Fine. And this class file is like the executable file. This class file is something which you can give to your client. Right. If you don't want to give him the source code, you can give him the class file. If you open up the class file, you will not be able to understand what it says. Alright. So WebEx link. Okay, I'll send you the WebEx link. You are late. Alright. Anyway, like I was saying that this class file is something which is like an executable file. You can give this to the client. Right. Now what happens is that in a project, when you make a project in Java, when the developers are making a project, they end up making lot of class files, say 1000 class files or 2000 class files, right. So how do you give these class files to the client? What you do is that you bring all the class files under one single file, and that single file is known as jar file, and you deliver the jar file to the client. Most of you might have heard the wordings that fine, the deployment is happening on the server, the code deployment is going on. So nothing happens. These jar files in Java, they are deployed on the server. Okay, right. So now, why am I telling you this? You will soon come to know this is quite important. Right. When you download Java on your machine, you see this JRE system library on the left hand side. This JRE system library is nothing but Java which was installed on your system. And if you expand this, you will find many jar files. As I told you right now, jar file is nothing but combination of class files. If you expand any jar file like rt.jar, you will see that this jar has got many class files inside it, and you can use these class files. These class files are like utility files. These are supplied by people who made Java language. When you downloaded Java, all these pre-built class files came to your system. Any questions? Please feel free. Right? Don't think that asking a question will make me angry or something. Okay, so please feel free to ask questions, right? So these are the jar files. Okay. Now, for example, if I write over here system.out.println new date, what is new date? Forget about it, right? But understand that date is a class which is present somewhere in the jar file, and I am using it. When I run the program, it prints the current date, right? So I have actually used a class which is pre-built by somebody who made Java, right? And this class is present somewhere in the jar file. Okay, just a minute, guys. I request you to please keep your mic on mute, fine, because I am recording this session. All right. Now, similarly, whosoever made Selenium made some class files, and he gave us the class files to work. Sorry, made some jar files, and he gave us the jar files to work with. Right. Whosoever made Java made some jar files. These jar files, they come onto your system when you install Java. When you work with Java, you actually use classes within these jar files, right? Similarly, in Selenium, if you go to seleniumhq.org and under the download link, you will find that for Java, this is the download link for the Java client version. When you click on it, the client version 2.41 for Java WebDriver will be downloaded on your machine. I am telling you how to download Selenium WebDriver jars right now. Okay, so when you click on this download link, Selenium will be downloaded on your machine. And just a minute, guys, just a minute. So Selenium will be downloaded from the website onto your machine, and it will be downloaded. Like in my PC, it is over here. Yeah, for example, Selenium Java 2.35 version, right? And it will have these two jar files over here. These are the jar files of Selenium. Each of these jar files, they contain lot of pre-built classes. Okay, and it will have jar files under the lib directory as well. There will be many jar files under the lib directory. These are the jars for Selenium. Okay, so you need to include them inside Eclipse. Okay, you need to include them inside Eclipse. How do you include them? You go to the project properties, right? You go to project properties, and how do you go to project properties? Click on the project and hit Alt Enter of keyboard, or right click on project and you will have the properties option. Fine. If you don't understand the following steps, you can also have a look at the recorded videos. Okay, so go to the project properties and you will have the option Java build path over here. Fine, right? Selenium is never installed. There is no exe file for Selenium like for QTP. For QTP we have an exe file, right? You run the exe and you install exe. For Selenium there is no exe file. You have to include the jar files which you have downloaded into Eclipse. Fine. So you go to the project properties, go to Java build path, and over here you will see 4 tabs: source, projects, libraries, order, and export. Go to libraries tab and you will see a button over here, add external jars. Fine. Click on that button and include Selenium Java. You can omit this file, this is not important. Selenium Java 2.5.0.jar, and along with that also the jar which is inside the libs directory. You can include that jar file as well. All those jar files. Please don't forget to include the jars inside libs. Sometimes people forget that, and later on it creates a lot of problems. Fine. So include all the jars, click on OK. As soon as you click on OK, you will find the reference libraries section coming up inside Eclipse on the left hand side. Inside it you will find all the jar files which you have included. These reference libraries jar files are for Selenium, and now you can start working with Selenium. This project is Selenium enabled. You don't install Selenium, you configure Selenium. Okay. Now one more thing guys, if you don't see these reference libraries, make sure that you are inside Java perspective in Eclipse. In Eclipse there are many perspectives. Out here on top right side you see this small icon, right? You click on this icon and you can change your perspective. Right. Eclipse is also used for web development and other things, and we are using it only for Java, right? So you go to other and make sure you have the Java perspective selected. Then you will see the reference library. Right. Now to work with these libraries, to work with these jar files, you need to know the concept of object oriented programming. Then only you will come to know what all, if you open Java doc, this is the documentation, what all inbuilt classes are there inside WebDriver jars and how do you use them. Okay, so I will talk about them, but before that, anybody having any questions in whatever I have taught or regarding the course, regarding Selenium, anything, anybody having any questions? If you can feel free to ask me, right? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Hi Ashish, this is Raja.
Yes.
Is Zapier, I think you might have Zapier. Is Zapier and Selenium are support the same kind of script and all?
Pardon?
That is, you might be known about that is web application testing in Java.
I cannot hear you. Your voice is not very clear. Can you repeat?
Hello?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You might be here about that is web application testing in Java.
Yeah.
So Vatis and Selenium support same kind of script. Any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have to ask.
Okay.
I'll have to look into it.
Okay, fine. No problem. Yeah, who developed this Selenium?
This initially was developed by a company known as ThoughtWorks. Okay.
Okay.
Then Google also came into picture, and Google is also involved in the development.
Okay. So you were talking about the OOPS concept. So are you going to cover OOPS concept as well during this training?
Yes. Tomorrow I'll be covering OOPS concept. Yes.
So is that enough for us? I mean, to handle in future?
It will be more than enough. Whatever I am teaching, whatever material I am giving, that will be more than
enough. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, Murugesh, you have to add it in every project. Okay. If you need to upgrade the new jars, you can eliminate the older ones and add the new one. It is a class. Date is a class, Dinesh. Only web-based applications can be automated. Only web-based applications can be automated. I am a simple trainer. I am not providing any corporate training. People, I am not providing any corporate training. So you have to do some POC before using Selenium in every project, right? Just don't start using it directly. Look, the basic disadvantage of Selenium is it's an open source tool. Nobody is responsible for it. Like for example, if you have QTP license, you can go to HP and tell them that fine, these things are not working. So please help us. So they will help you. They'll provide you support. but nobody is actually responsible for this tool. So you have to do a good POC before using this tool. Otherwise, it's quite a stable tool. It's not something that will go for a toss overnight, but still you have to be a little careful.
Ashish, what are the major differences between QTP and Selenium?
The major difference is that automate Windows build application as well, Selenium cannot. Okay. QTP has got a good user interface. If anybody has seen QTP, you open QTP, it's got a user interface. Selenium has got no user interface. In Selenium, you open up Eclipse and just like a developer, you write the code inside Eclipse. Okay. There are other technical differences as well. For example, run for from step is not available in Selenium. In QTP it is there, and other things are also there. Right. So and Selenium supports more browsers than QTP in a better way, right? Although the latest version of QTP is also working on some Chrome version, right? But still, like Selenium is anytime good for any browser because it's the JavaScript based tool.
Okay. And how about the market trend in for Selenium than QTP? I heard market leader is QTP so far, but now it is
Selenium has taken over. I can show you directly. Go to the website dice.com in US, right?
Okay.
And if you hold on, initially QTP was in the market, but right now Selenium has taken over. If you just search jobs on Selenium, you'll come to know. Search jobs on Selenium. This is a US based website, and you will also in India also and in Australia also, UK also same thing has happened. There are currently around 1,200 jobs listed for Selenium, right? If you search for QTP, you will see that there are hardly 500 or 600 jobs. Look, this is just a generic thing which I am telling you, and I have also observed that the market has switched over to Selenium over a period of time, because when something can, and Selenium can do, sorry guys,
Okay.
Selenium can do the same something, right? Why would somebody use QTP? Okay. Any other question? Look, I'll stop here. I don't really want to go forward today. This was just a general introductory session. Tomorrow I'll be starting off with the concepts of object-oriented programming.